Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for
Happy
being with
to be
us.
with you.
Good to see you. Pete Buttigieg just dropped out of the race last night. I understand you two had a conversation. Have you asked him for his endorsement?
No, I haven't. Look, he, having been there, it's a tough thing to drop out. What I did, I called to encourage him to stay engaged because he has a significant amount of raw talent. And I just hope I encourage him just stay engaged. I mean, run for other offices, be engaged, do not walk away because he is that next generation of talent. And he should be fully engaged.
But did you have any conversations about him coming onto the campaign and supporting you?
No, and if I had, I wouldn't tell you.
You can tell us.
But no, I couldn't. No, I wouldn't because I never just, I don't want to, when people tell you things in confidence, you keep them in confidence. But no, I just encouraged him to stay in and told him if I were to win the nomination, I'd be coming back to ask him to be engaged.
When you looked at his campaign, did you ever see any of your son in his campaign? Did he remind you of your son at all? You talk about Bo often on the campaign trail.
I do. I mean, he and Bo have the same, I think they're both principled people. They both volunteered to go to Afghanistan in his case and Iraq in my son's case. My son was Attorney General. But I found Bo, you might expect me to say this, but they're similar in their age and their circumstance, but well, maybe I should just leave it at that.
You talk often about your son and his service, and we're grateful for that. Do you ever have any regrets about not having served in the military?
Sometimes I do, and but that wasn't to be, and but my son, anyway, I have great respect for what my son did, and I have great respect for my living son as well as my daughter.
Do you see this race now as a two-person race between yourself and Bernie Sanders?
Well, look, I'm not going to be the pundit. I think that there's going to be a real choice that the Democrats are going to have to make between a revolution and results. I admire Bernie, but I think that what he's proposing is he keeps calling for this revolution. I think people are looking for results. They want health care that is available and is ready on day one. They want to be in a position where they can have access to education, but in real sense, that zip codes don't impact on what your prospects are. That's why I invest in early education and making sure that you have help when you're being able to go to community college for free, cutting in half the cost of college. But what I propose, and climate change, things that I've been deeply involved in my whole career, I think people are looking for who can get things done and get them done in a realistic fashion that are really progressive. I think I have a program that does much more than Bernie can do.
Are you talking to any other Democrats about trying to stop Bernie Sanders? Are there conversations among Democrats to stop Bernie Sanders from getting the nomination?
Well, there may be, but not with me. I've had no such conversations with any other Democrats.
You have had a conversation with former President Obama. I understand that you talked after the South Carolina victory of yours. Why hasn't he endorsed you?
Because I asked him not to in the very beginning. People didn't believe it. In the very beginning when I announced, I said I specifically asked him not to because, look, the argument I knew was going to be Biden feels like he's entitled. He's the vice president. You saw everybody in that stage from the first debate on said he's acting entitled. He's the vice president, thinks he is owed this. And if the president had endorsed me, I think it would have just been all about whether or not he endorsed me and was that the reason why I was running. And I really believe it's important that I demonstrate that I earned this on my own. He's a great personal friend. He remains my friend. And I'm confident if I'm the nominee, he'll be of enormous help. But I've asked him not to get engaged, for real.
Do you think that he needs to step in to help unify the party now that it has gotten to this point?
That's a decision for him to make. I don't think he has that obligation. He has said things. For example, when the Trump campaign was running negative ads that were simply not true in his voice during trying to stop me from winning as big as we did in South Carolina, he spoke up and demanded they take down the ad. He said there were lies. So he intervenes when, in fact, there's something that crosses the line. But he's a friend, and I don't have any doubt about where he'll be if we, in fact, win this nomination.
Do you think that Democrats in any way underestimated Bernie Sanders?
I didn't, and because look, Bernie's been doing this, and he's been doing a good job at it since before Hillary, and since then he's never slowed up, and I compliment him on that. I don't think he should have slowed up for what he wants to do, but I didn't underestimate him. He has a significant group of very devout followers who are looking for a revolution, and as he calls it, but what he's proposing, I don't see. Look, I think what the Democratic Party is looking for is a Democrat, and I mean that sincerely. An Obama-Biden Democrat, a Democrat that is very progressive but is able to get things done. And we'll find out whether I'm right about that or not.
Do you think Bernie Sanders needs to register as a Democrat?
Well, it would be helpful, but that's his decision. Look, he's registered as an independent except when he runs for president. And by the way, everybody's talking about the socialist. Well, he calls himself a socialist. This isn't a label anybody put on him. It's not like, Trump is going to put a label. Bernie's a nominee. Anybody who is Bernie's running with, they're going to say he's a socialist or she's a socialist. He's put that label on him because he believes it, and I admire his belief. I admire his consistency, but that's not where I think the Democratic Party is. I think we'll find this out. But I think they're looking to look. The next president.
He's leading in the delegate count.
Well, by two delegates.
Poised to do well in California.
Yeah. Well, sure. Look, you all are the pundits. You told me I wasn't going to win South Carolina. I won every single solitary county in every single solitary group of people that were measured, as whether it's women, men, black, white, etc. And so we'll see.
But it does seem to be the sense of urgency that Democrats are having to try to stop Sanders. It seems kind of a newer development.
Well, I think there's an awful lot of people who are running for office who don't want to run with Bernie at the top of the ticket as a self-proclaimed socialist. Imagine here in Texas or in North Carolina or in Georgia or in the idea. If I just said to you on a just an open test, you're running for office. Do you want a very popular socialist, self-proclaimed socialist, or a popular mainstream Democrat running at the top of the ticket? My guess is in most states they'd say no. But what I have been surprised is the plethora of endorsements that have come out since I have done so well in South Carolina. I mean, scores and scores of congresspersons, governors, senators, sitting people who have to run this time. Because look, it's not going to be enough just to beat Donald Trump. We have to win back the Senate, and we have to keep the House. And whether they're right or not, those people who are running for those offices think that Bernie was not likely to help them but hurt them in their pursuit of their Senate seat, their House seat, their governor's seat.
Have you had any conversations with Elizabeth Warren or Amy Klobuchar about exiting the race at this point?
No, I haven't. Look,
Do you think they should?
No, it's really presumptive. I resent the fact that someone would say to me or anyone else, and no one has, you should exit the race. That's their decision. They're really quality people. They've worked like the devil to move where they have, and I think they're entitled to make that decision. I'm not going to presume to suggest what they should do.
You did have a big victory in South Carolina. Do you think any of the other Democrats in this race have the ability to get the African-American vote?
Well, we'll see. I've always had this. One of the things, especially really good reporters like you who have not been around for as long as I've been around, are always surprised that Biden has that support in the black community. I've had that support from the day I entered. Not this time, when I was 29 years old. This is the base from which I come. I've been involved with the black community my entire career. And I think the reason they support me is they know me, and as Jim Clyburn says, that they know I know them.
Jim Clyburn was very supportive of your campaign, obviously endorsed you and helped you in South Carolina.
Still is.
He still is. He did have some criticisms, though, about how your campaign was being run.
Sure.
How have you changed the campaign heading into Super Tuesday?
It's a matter of addition. What happens in campaigns is that as you move forward, you add people. You add good people. Not that there's bad people you had, but you increase the competence as you move forward. And we've done that. And look, this is just in the last couple of days, we've raised a couple $1 million. We've raised over, I think it's now $13 million just since the race in South Carolina. So I think there's a real momentum. It's real, and I think it matters in politics. and we'll see whether it's as strong a wave as I think it is.
You've been able to raise a lot of money since that South Carolina victory, but Bernie Sanders raised about $46 million in the month of February alone. How do you compete with that?
Well, we've raised about $28 million this month, and counting March 1st, I think that's the number. But a lot of money. Look, Bernie's been at this to his great credit. He's never stopped running. So he started off with a significant amount of support left over from his loss the last time out, and he's continued it and he's nurtured it, and that I compliment him on that. And he has PACs that are outside as well. I find it fascinating. You know, Elizabeth's out there talking about no PACs. Now she's got a $9 million PAC. You know, so it's I think a little truth in advertising is a very important thing to do. One of the things I think makes a difference is being some authenticity. State what you're going to do, how much it's going to cost, and who's going to pay for it, and how you're running your campaign. And my campaign, I think you'd acknowledge, or the press has acknowledged, has been totally transparent from the day I announced. Mm-hmm. And so I think people are now beginning to focus on maybe some inconsistencies in the records of my opponents.
Elizabeth Warren's campaign says that no candidate is going to have enough delegates to claim the nomination outright by the time everything's settled. Is that how you see it? Are we headed to a brokered convention?
No, I don't see it that way.
You don't see it that way? And how do you think you're going to do on Tuesday? Where are you going to win?
Well, I don't know where I'm going to win because even if I did know, I wouldn't say because I'm superstitious about that as a candidate. But the truth of the matter is I think we're going to do very well across the board. I think we're going to do very well in places that for example, last night, we were, anyway, I think we're going to do well from Alabama to doing well in North Carolina to Virginia. I mean, we've had crowds of 2,000, 2,500 people showing up and real enthusiasm. And so there's some real energy in the campaign. And I'm just hoping that we can carry it. Because I think people are beginning to focus. They got a hard choice to make. Are they looking for a revolution or they're looking for fundamental change, progressive change that's consequential? And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Michael Bloomberg says he's going to stay in beyond Super Tuesday. What's your message to him?
Good luck, Mike.
and then just quickly, because you've been talking about the coronavirus.
Yes.
You've been talking about your concerns with how President Trump is handling this. You're out on the campaign trail. We've seen you on the rope lines. You're talking to lots of people. Have you changed any of your behaviors to kind of address this virus? Are you not shaking as many hands? Are you extra cautious?
We're following the advice of the scientists and the CDC. Mm-hmm. And so we have not changed anything. We will follow the advice of the CDC. But the president, look, one of the most important things to deal with a crisis or a pandemic like this disease is the credibility of the President of the United States of America. And he has none. He has none on this issue. That's not hyperbole. That's a fact. He has lied so much, he has misled so much, he has exaggerated so much that the American people are out there going now like, whoa, what's going on? Let the scientists make these judgments. Let them make the judgment. The credibility of a president in a crisis is consequential. And unfortunately, this president has no credibility.